love we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough and it seems like your best ain't good enough, if you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning into the classroom for the first time, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, I have learned over the years that everything has purpose. Even the things that I can't figure out why, everything has purpose. It's our job to go back there and kind of figure it out why it happened, and not to ruminate, but to just be at peace with it. And sometimes it requires us to go through this process of resistance, and then all of a sudden there's acceptance and peace. But what about when there are other ways that you can achieve this a little sooner? Maybe yes, maybe no, we'll see. But today we have world-renowned Jason Stephenson of Jason Stephenson Meditations. You can find Jason Stephenson Meditation all over YouTube. Plus, he's got so many things that he's doing today. So you need to make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel and everything that he's doing, his website at jasonstephenson.net. Because today Jason's going to not join us to not only to tell us and how meditation can help us get to that peaceful state, but it could also become a way of life. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that my friend Jason Stephenson is here to do just that. Welcome back, Jason. I've missed you.
Hello, Lily. It's lovely to be back here. It's been a long time, right?
It has been.
It's been a big gap. It's lovely. Although there's no time and space. It's all good. We're here and now, and yeah, it's perfect.
The sign of a good friendship is that you can go years without talking to each other, and then all of a sudden you reconnect as if time never happened, right?
Yeah. You just remind me of a quote, Richard Bach, "There's no such place as far away. Can miles truly separate friends? If we want to be with someone we love, aren't we already there?" I love that quote.
Wow, that's beautiful.
No distance, no time, no miles.
Well,
yeah.
That's the kind of friendship we have, and I'm so grateful for that. So share with our viewers and listeners, and what brought you to meditation, and share a little bit about your background and what led you there.
Yeah, sure. Well, this is a kind of a two-part answer, if you like. I think the first time I truly experienced mindfulness and true awareness was way back, and before I even knew what mindfulness and meditation was all about. And I was about 9 years of age. We were going around Australia at the time with the family, my two brothers, and I would often spend time on my own. I loved just being on my own. My brothers would play together. I would often wander off and spend time on my own. And I remember being in Western Australia, sitting on the bank of this gorge and just being still. And it was like, as a kid, I had everything in this moment that I could ever wish for. It was like this wave of beautiful peace just overcome me as a 9-year-old kid. And to this day, I don't know how I processed that, but it's only upon reflection of that, that I recall. But it was like, yeah, everything at once was there within me. The whole universe, the whole God within, it all just shone forth at that period of time. And I'll never forget that. And then that experience then happened again. It happened again in my early 20s. But then it wasn't until I attended a meditation retreat, a mindfulness, silence, monastic retreat at Nantian Temple, where a similar experience occurred. But after meditating for numerous days, for hours on end, and we had to get up very early. It was a wintry day this morning. And I got up and saw the sun come up. And again, this wave of peace just washed over me. And I began to realize what this is all about. And this was how mindfulness was becoming a part of me. Now, the wave of peace just washed over me. And I knew after that 10-day monastic retreat that I had to share this. I wanted people to experience this form of peace. And so it was a magical time.
That's wonderful. What a beautiful story. Sometimes we don't know why something happens or how it embeds in our brain, our memory, and all of a sudden a smell, taste, a sound, just will bring us back to that moment so that we can make that connect the dots. I don't know if you've ever played connect the dots, like they're two totally isolated situations, and all of a sudden you discover, no, they were meant for the same purpose. So did you resist it? Because a lot of people, like some people resist meditation. And I have found that there's like breathing for me is the only meditation I need, or I love to be guided through a meditation. I love listening to you in your meditations, your guided meditations. But there are many kinds of meditations. How does somebody discover which ones works for them, and how many kinds of different kinds of meditations are there?
I think there are many different kinds of meditations in this day and age, especially right now, and you've got all different religions across the globe practice in their own way different forms of meditation, communion and prayer. It's all different forms. And now mindfulness, of course, has come, it's big time in the Western countries, although it's been going, for centuries and centuries. But it's a great thing now that it's brought to the West. I know John Kabat-Zinn, he's brought this to the West, and they've done studies on it now. So proving that it really does help indeed. When you said, did I resist it at any time? When I first started that monastic retreat, for the first 3 days of that retreat, I found excruciating because it was silence and it was strict monastic conditions, hair shaved off, robes, and they picked and eating mindfully. My mind, coming from the regular noisy routine that I was I think I was in my early 30s then, everything was just noise and loud, and into this space, it was almost traumatic. And I started to get angry. I'm like, what are they doing this for? What do they think? Who do they think they are? This is ridiculous. This is not doing anything. So it was all this resistance it was amazing. And then it was about the 4th day in that something just clicked into place, and I thought, aha, this is what it's all about. I began the moments of peace then just began to extend, just little by little by little, the awareness. And so beautiful times. But resistance, absolutely. And I can understand when people begin listening to that mind. I totally get it, that people think, this is not meditation. I'm not sitting in silence. I'm not, this is crazy. I get it. Our job is to observe that mind, that mind's there. That's the physical mind, if you like. Our job is to literally step outside and just begin to observe this craziness and this nonsense of the ego mind, just chatter, 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 so if we can begin to just shift back and just see it for what it is and allow it to be, don't try and fight against it and silence it. Forgive yourself for that. Just allow it to be. This is the way it is now. This is where I'm at. And we just go pull back, pull back, pull back. And that's awareness. And this is the gift of meditation, where it can help us to in all aspects of our life, because we can bring that into our lives day to day.
Beautiful. When I first started meditating, just sitting there quiet, that didn't work for me. I would do the grocery list, and I would just think about all the things that I needed to do for the day. It was not meditation. It was work. And
Yes.
so I all of a sudden, someone said to me, focus on your breathing. And that was a game changer for me. So I can be in any room, any situation, and that helped me. Do you have any tips for people that are relating to the monkey brain and the chatter, 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 and feeling like a failure because now you're doing the grocery list with me? And so what are some of your tips to quiet the mind?
I just gave this one actually to some students the other day. And this one's a perfect breathing exercise for people that their minds are unsettled and they feel like they're not getting anywhere with meditation. It's more like an active breath work meditation, if you like. And it's called the 4-7-8 breathing technique. And it's very simple. If you can remember the numbers 4, 7, 8, you can do this exercise. It's simply breathing in for a count of 4 through the nose. So hold for 7, and they're quite quick counts, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out for 8. Audibly breathe out. Let it go for 8 counts. 4, breathe in, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. Now, what this does is this helps to kick in it's the parasympathetic nervous system, but helps to kick in what's called the relaxation response, especially that last outward breath for 8 seconds. Just helps the body to physically begin to relax. And if you guys do 4 rounds of this, 4, 7, 8, you will sit there and notice afterwards that you might not even want to do anything for a minute or two because you'll be so still. This is a perfect way. You can even begin this before you actually do a meditation session, if you like. This is a perfect way to begin, or else if you're happy to just do this on your own, I encourage this.
Very nice. Very nice.
4, 7, 8.
4, 7, 8. Anything else that you recommend?
The only thing I can recommend, Lily, is to not beat yourself up over the thoughts. I think the whole thing is even if you begin to expect them and welcome them, so you just go, okay, welcome. I put the doormat open out for my thoughts. Enter. Come and enter. And then just watch
grocery
them.
list. Welcome grocery
Yes,
list.
absolutely.
I love you, grocery list.
To buy the carrots and the apples and the yes,
and breathe
yes.
and breathe out. That could be my meditation.
But what you said though, Lily, what you said about when you catch yourself thinking those thoughts when they're going through your mind, with the awareness, then go to your breathing. At that point in time, go to your breath, focus on that breathing in and breathing out. And you can even feel the physical sensations as you breathe in and out. And it could be something you might feel the clothes pressing against your belly area as your breath, as it goes in, and then it contracts. So you can physically feel it. You might feel the temperature of the breath going through your nose.
Yeah.
And as it comes out, the different temperature, is it different? Just check in with these sorts of things. And this brings you to the awareness of what's actually happening right here and now. And no doubt, again, you might go back to the shopping list, but that's okay. Just complete that shopping list in your mind. No.
Just say, excuse me 1 second. Let's write it down. Just write it down. I think that is a huge problem with people. I used to coach this guy that he would read every night. Every night he would read. And then he would be like, go to bed. When he finally go to sleep, he'd start thinking about all the things that he needed to do. And I kept listening to him and all the stuff that he needed to do. And I said, stop. Instead of reading and taking in all this information, just stop before you read and dump everything that you need to do for the next day before you go to bed. Just get a journal, write down everything that you need to do the next day before you read, before you go to bed, because I think that that's a form of meditation, journaling, just to get everything out of, for me, to get everything out before I leave my office, just sit down and go, okay, when I'm really organized, Jason, like if I have a lot of things to do, if I don't have a lot of things to do, I kind of get a little sloppy. But when I know I have deadlines and things, I get really super focused. And so I write things down so that I don't have to rely on my memory. So that has helped me. And I find journaling like a peaceful release. And I would call it some form of a meditation.
I would agree with you 100%. And I think the idea to do that prior to sleep is a beautiful thing, to dump out the information. Because I can relate to that friend, the reading, because oftentimes I would listen to audiobooks prior to sleep. And I was quite happy because, I'm learning as I drift off, but there's a time and place for everything, and we're continuing to use the brain to take in more information. So that the idea of journaling or doing a guided meditation prior to sleep is a perfect opportunity to let go.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I will tell you that when I listen to, and I hate to say this to you, Jason, when I'm talking to you, I am fully aware of our conversation. But when you're guiding me, I sometimes fall asleep. Which is the whole point.
It's the whole point of a sleep meditation, but it's not the whole point of meditation as such.
So let's talk about the meditation, the point of meditation. What is the point? Because when you tell the story of the silence, I remember I went to a retreat. It was a 3-day retreat, and the 4th day was the rest of your life. So it was a 3-day retreat. And the first day, I don't know if you know this about me, I'm really shy. And, I find it very difficult when I go to a new place, because I see people sitting in the corner and I'm like, okay, well, I don't like her being by herself or them or being. And so I feel that this is a part of me that I have to introduce them to somebody else. And then I have to, get them out of their shell. It's kind of like something that I've done my whole entire life. So we were going to this workshop, and I knew that there would be like 50 women there, 100 women there. And then all of a sudden I would feel like I have to entertain everybody. Right. And so when I found out the first night was a silent retreat, I was so relieved. The pressure. And so that silent retreat for you, which was the resistance, I wonder if it started taking out the toxins in you after 4 days. Is that what a silent retreat will do?
Oh my goodness. It certainly did a lot. But I think here's the beauty of what this did. What it did was, probably for the first time in as many years, I would say, I truly began to be present in the moment, because meditation wasn't a part of my life previously. So I was always just scattered and off with the fairies, or whatever's happening. And Yeah, that's got a good part to it. Of course, there's a time for that. But to never be present and then to begin to be fully present was literally a beautiful awakening for me. So, of course, for the first 3 or 4 days, I resisted. I was in resistance mode, like, this is garbage. And I think it was one action they got me to do. This was it. They said to me, we had duties to do each day, mindfulness duties. And they said, okay, Jason, you're going to be cleaning the railings of the temple. Now, the railings went for miles and miles. I said, okay. And she gave me a bucket and a toothbrush. And I looked at her and I said, a toothbrush? And she said, yes. And I said, won't do anything. This will take forever. And she said, just begin. And it was doing this. And I began to just do this. It frustrated at first, probably going like this. And I'm like, what am I doing? This. And then all of a sudden, I began to find myself actually being mindful for the first time in as many years. And I'm like, I'm starting to enjoy this. I'm really enjoying this. Some of the intricate work, I even took out a little spider. I saw a little spider in the intricate cement work. And so I took him out, cleaned there, and then put him back there. and it was just a beautiful few moments there.
That's beautiful. And it's so nice to remember these things. Okay. Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to set ourselves up for success. So how can we set up a meaningful practice of, and some people meditate for hours and hours and hours. God bless them. I don't know how they do them, but when I learned I could meditate for 2 minutes, I'm in. I'm in. Yeah. And so there's let's talk about the amount of time and how does that work for each individual?
When I first started talking to you, Lily, I remember saying that I for the most part, I was meditating at nighttime. That was my time when I was meditating. Since that time, I've realized the importance, the real importance of meditating in the morning, that I was kind of just discounting, and I would do it every now and then. Since that time, I've recognized, meditation is truly, truly probably the best time to do it is the morning time, because we're giving our chance to kickstart our day off into a day of, how would I say this, controlled peace. We're giving ourselves this opportunity to connect with God. Call that what you will, but I'm going to say God. And some of the spiritual leaders call this, the time when the sun comes up, the sacred hour. Yeah. This is our time of peace. And so we can't also use the excuse that I haven't got time. We get up 5 minutes earlier. And I'm telling you, this is all it takes is 5 minutes. And the reason I know that is Headspace have done some studies, independent studies on meditation. They've found that 5 minutes, 5 days a week, 5 minutes, 5 days a week is enough to change neural pathways in the brain. So if you want to begin, I'm not doing much. I'm going to be honest with everyone here. I'm not doing much more than 5 minutes at the start of the day. This is what I do. This is my time to commune with God and to be still, and to be at peace and to listen. And I know that Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, she said that 17 seconds of a positive thought precedes another 17 seconds of the same thought. So you see, when we begin to set ourselves up for peace, more of that can follow. We're giving ourselves this beautiful opportunity to have more of that. If we don't do that, if we choose to go to the news, scroll through social media, which is just as bad, I might add, as the news, all of that sort of stuff, we're literally opening our mind to begin our day with actual insanity. It's just chaotic madness. And so I am for the part this year, I've been doing my morning meditations now, and I'm telling you now, Lily, for me personally, this has been life-changing,
That's great.
more so than my nightly meditations, which I still do occasionally.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, but my morning meditations, I'm not going without them now.
yeah,
I'm,
yeah. And you've
it's
created more morning meditations.
not so much on my channel because we're focused on sleep.
But
Yeah, so
you have the I am meditations. So I'm suggesting that maybe you can throw in a couple more morning meditations. That would be great.
we might we might just give the CEO a yell out for that one. I think it's a great idea, actually. Yeah,
I would love to wake up with Jason every morning too. So like
yeah,
maybe 5-minute meditation or maybe even a
yeah.
15-minute meditation. When I do a guided meditation, I like it to be between 15 and 20 minutes. Or if I do a self meditation where I'm just breathing, because that's the creativity I got. Okay. My meditation is just, okay, follow your breath. Okay. Follow your breath. Okay. Forget it out. Bring it.
Yeah.
But if I were to do something like that, I might do it for 2 to 5 minutes. But
Hmm.
if I had a guided meditation for a beautiful day or whatever, what I do is I listen to your I am in the morning. If I'm going to
Hmm.
do a morning meditation with Jason Stephenson, that's what I do listen to, is your I am. And so, but I love, so all of you need to go and go to Jason Stephenson meditations and check him out. Before we go with the tips, I just want to encourage all of you to join us at whenyouneedafriend.com. If you were a subscriber, then you already have Jason's information and you know who's going to be in the classroom. So when you go to whenyouneedafriend.com, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. While you're there, like and follow me on social media. Share this video with your friends, because we want to go beyond the garbly algorithms, because we have such great, passionate followers and people who have subscribed to the channel that know what to do. So subscribe, like, follow, tag. That way we can go beyond these silly algorithms. And so while you're there at whenyouneedafriend.com, also check out my sponsors. Support them the way that they're supporting the classroom. As you know, it's become more and more expensive. Censorship costs a lot, and to go beyond censorship costs even more. And so I want to encourage you that if you want to buy some of the products in my Shop Now bag that are Lily approved, many of them are Lily approved. I mean, from Spirit, Mind, and Body. So all of them are Lily approved. Many of them I get an affiliate price, but some of them I don't. I just want to make sure that you have the best of the best. And so check out the Shop Now bag, from beauty products from head to toe, all the way to working out with big muscles. And so then another way that you can help the classroom is that you can become an enrolled student in the classroom. So whether it's $1 or $1,000 a month or a one-time donation, it doesn't matter to me what the donation is, whether it's your time, your talent, your treasure. If with your time, just share. If you have the treasure, please give. And so to help us out. And so today we have, and anything you can give will be very much appreciated. Today we have Jason Stephenson in the classroom. We're talking about meditation as a way of life, but I want to encourage all of you to support Jason in what he's doing. So go to jasonstephenson.net. That's jasonstephenson.net, and like and follow him on all his social media, especially YouTube. To go to Jason Stephenson Meditation. I'm so excited. I remember the first time I heard Jason, I'm like, I need to have this guy in the show. At the time it was a show, and now it's a classroom. And so I remember hearing back from Jason saying, yes, I'll be on, and it was just magic. And so thank you, Jason, for everything that you
Thank
do.
you, Lily. No
Yes.
problem at all. No problem at all. It's a pleasure, as I said, to be here and to connect, to reconnect.
To reconnect, always,
Mm.
always. Okay, so before I started talking about my stuff that I need to talk about. Before I forget, remember, we do have some workshops. We have some things, do it yourself, to help the spirit, mind, and body. So make sure that you check them out as well. Okay, so before we went off that direction, I wanted to get some tips to make a success, set us up for success. And one of the tips that you gave already that I know is true is to do it in the morning. So meditate in the morning. So do you recommend that it be a certain time of day, or go ahead?
No, just in the morning, but definitely first thing when you awake.
Yeah.
So before you get a chance to fill your mind with other stuff, okay, that's the best time. So whatever that is, if that's 9 a.m. for you, be at 9 a.m. If it's 6 a.m., be at 6. Just get that done. And also what this does, Lily, is if we're talking about bringing meditation into our life, we truly do need to find time to practice, I guess, the formal part of meditation, which is sitting and being still. You know, we can bring meditation into all aspects of our life, but we really need just to have that time to be still, because that awareness that we gain through that, the awareness of being in the moment, that then begins to fill us up, and that then begins to extend over into all areas of our life. No matter what we choose to do, we can catch ourselves, we can catch moments of awareness that we might not have ever had before.
Very nice. So what else can we do, Jason?
I think one thing I'm going to say is to surrender and trust in God's plan. And I say this because, again, our ego mind loves to try to control literally everything. And it doesn't shut up. And usually what it tells us is crap anyway. It's just garbage. If we can begin to listen and trust in God's plan, listen and use that stillness to listen, because quite often when we are still is when we can hear the plan, hear God speak to us through that. Can I just tell you a story about
Absolutely.
this in
You can
regards
tell me whatever you want.
Trusting in. I did a singing contest not very long back. I started singing again, and I went down to Adelaide, and I got into the finals of this song contest. And the first prize was a $1,000 and a 12-month contract with the club. Anyway, I've been through these contests for many, many years, and I was always back then hoping to win and thinking about the outcome all the time. And it was like this other purpose in my mind to win. And for the most part in competing, that's kind of a normal thing. This time, however, I just said, no. If I'm doing this, I'm stepping out, and my higher purpose is to serve and to serve the people and to go out there to enjoy and to give. Not for me, to give, to actually give and enjoy the purpose. And it was really interesting. I had, the nerves weren't as bad as what I usually have. I had the greatest time on stage. I felt truly present. And I said to God beforehand, I said, win, lose, or draw, can you please just help me to be in the moment and just to be of service? That's all I want. And if I can do that, I'm going to be so happy. And so I did that. And it was absolutely a joyous time. Now, here's the thing. I didn't win that contest, but might have been just for a moment that went, oh, okay, that didn't happen. But truly, honestly, I felt so much joy because I got out of that experience so much more than I've ever got. And here's the deal. A month later, it turns out that club has now closed anyway.
Wow.
And so sometimes, God has bigger plans for us than what we could ever truly imagine. And so I say, as much as we can, to begin to surrender. And I'm reminding myself every day of this now. To let go.
That's tough. It's tough for many people to let go. But if you say it and it becomes a mantra that it's, I release things freely. If my mantra is I release things freely, eventually you will start releasing things freely. Because if you're saying that what is creating that monkey chatter and all that conversations that we have that we want to win and all that, that's the ego. Well, the song of the ego is I don't get no satisfaction. So that's the song of the ego. We know the ego is not here to be happy. The ego is here to win. The ego is here to control. The ego is here to feel sorry for itself, really. And so there's
misery.
there's different points for and when you're in your ego, when you're not feeling well, like you're like, you're cursing or you're not in the moment. You're trying to look good, in control. You remember all that stuff. They look good, in control, be right and comfortable. Those are the things that the ego wants us to be. And anytime we feel discontentment, then you're in your ego. So then that's the time to shift. That's the time to say, okay, I just recognize I'm in my ego. Meditation, knowing that this is now, let me focus on my breath. Let me just say, I give up control easily. I am always, going through that process can really help us all.
The ego
included.
The ego is just like this, it tries to call us to this separation from God and from each other.
Correct.
And I think that's its job, is just continually like, you're separate, you're not and we need to regroup and know the truth about who we are, the truth about ourselves. We are all together. We are all one mind.
Yes, we are. That's right. That's right. So what else would you say would be a good tip for setting ourselves up for success?
I'm going to say this one, and I know you and I have talked about this, and it always comes up. I don't know if you can probably guess it, but it's forgiveness.
I love that.
And no matter how much we meditate, no matter how much we try to remain peaceful, if we are holding any grievances, and I'm talking grievances large or tiny, a grievance is a grievance. And so if we're continually to hold grievances, we will not find inner peace. It will never become present for us. And this is a continual process. I think forgiveness is, and of ourselves as well, not just other people, of ourselves in turn, because if we forgive ourselves in turn, we're actually forgiving the other anyway. We're all a part of the one. When we forgive another, we're forgiving ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Really important.
We have had multiple conversations about forgiveness, and you have a great forgiveness story with what happened to you. And for those of you who are just learning about Jason Stephenson today, which I seriously doubt, I know everybody knows Jason Stephenson, but if you're learning about him for the first time, if you go to my YouTube channel or Facebook or whatever, you'll see some interviews where we talked about Jason's story. And Jason, you've always been so open to share your story, which I believe is a gift. That is really a gift, because I always say that, God sent me first, God sent you first, and whatever trials that we've gone through, that we've gone over to help other people out. I think that's the biggest purpose. And how we talk about taking 100% responsibility. I have a page on my website that I don't know if it gets enough notice or enough clicks, but I want all of you to go to the 100% responsibility page. And the first step of taking 100% responsibility is figuring out how you created it. But that's not for blame, shame, fault, or duty. That's just, how did I create it? It could be that I was born to the family. Maybe I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's no shame, blame, fault, or duty. The second one is, now that I know how I created it, what are the gifts and lessons? Finding the gifts and lessons and what we got from that experience. The third, now that we know how we created it and what the gifts and lessons are, then what's going to be different? What's going to be different? And the last thing that in taking 100% responsibility is, how am I going to use this experience to serve others for the greater good? And I think that you've used all your experiences, and you're very open, and I really do appreciate it. Just like, I do the same. I feel that my life is I'm very private, but if I can use an experience to help somebody, I will share, like, from the gut, from all the depth of me. And so have you found that when you are sharing your story, not to ruminate or to find fault, that it creates a bit of more healing, a deeper sense of healing?
Yeah, it's interesting that, Lily, because I've got to a point now where I think every time I shared these stories, it was you're right, it was a bit of a healing within, more and more and more, to the point now I almost think it's almost like a memory now. It's just a distant memory. It's something that happened a long time ago. If I have to share it to help someone, if I feel it's called to, I will, but I kind of let that go now. I don't even like to, almost like I don't like to bring it up anymore, because it's gone. But, if there is a place for it that needs to, that I've got this opportunity to help others to heal and to move forward, then we share that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good. But forgiveness has been some of our best conversations have been on forgiveness, right?
Yeah.
On and off the air.
Here's a time when you can truly do it as well, is when you feel that you're getting caught up in the day-to-day activities and you're getting a little bit of anxious or stress. If you can catch yourself at those times, then just stop for a moment and forgive yourself for going through that. Just pull back and go, there goes Jason. There he goes, just almost like he's a third party out there. There he goes. He's feeling a bit anxious now, and you might catch it a bit later after the day or whatever. But if you can begin to do that, you can begin to let it dissolves stress and anxiety so much faster. If you can catch it and just go, I forgive you, Jay, for going through that. That was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. We can justify it all we like. But the truth of the matter is, quite often, it is unnecessary.
It is.
Forgive. Let go.
So along with that, let's go in that forgiveness route still. Let's stay here. Let's hover like Ian hovered over Florida. Let's hover over that one. So you have a meditation, and that now we've talked about it in the past. We've talked about Ho'oponopono. Share about Ho'oponopono and how you use it also in your meditations for Jason Stephenson meditations.
Oh, Ho'oponopono is a wonderful thing. I'm going to admit I haven't used it for a while, but it's there. And I've seen similarities between Ho'oponopono and A Course in Miracles.
Yeah. Interesting.
Both of them operating on the path of forgiving yourself. And Ho'oponopono is this ancient Hawaiian prayer. And it says, the words are, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And you're
four statements. Yeah.
Four statements.
Yeah. There are
and
four
you're
statements.
Working on yourself, on clearing yourself. Now, some of you might know this, some of you might not. Those that haven't heard of Ho'oponopono, the Dr. Hugh Len, I believe, was the one that first brought this to. I think he's passed on.
Oh, has he?
Only not long back, maybe a year ago, 12 months ago. He first re-brought this to life again when he was working at a prison for the mental ill. And he took over this prison, and because staff kept leaving, and it wasn't going very well. And what he did, he said, look, I'll take over this prison as long as you know that I am going to be spending most of the time in my office doing work, going through the files. They allowed him to do that. But what he was actually doing was, as he was going through the files, He was working on himself. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Over and over again, day after day after day. And what ended up happening, because you become almost a vessel of light, of a clear, translucent, without any hang-ups. And of course, this gets washed over to others. If we're connected, if we're all one mind, people can sense this. And he would then go wandering out into the prison, and one by one, the patients began to heal and get better. So much so that they started to, they could let them go. People could go. And eventually the prison closed down because there was no need for it. God had healed everyone through his own healing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. The first time I ever heard of Ho'oponopono, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to start doing this, especially with people that, you want to forgive from afar, or you want to reconnect, but we just don't know how. Maybe the other person doesn't want to connect with you. That story doesn't matter. The four statements: I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I'm sorry for the part that I was in here, or that you had to go through that. Whatever you want to add to that, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me that I didn't realize that you were hurting, or please forgive me that that I was insensitive, or that you perceived it. And then the next one is thank you, or I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And then thank you for your forgiveness. Thank you for my forgiveness. And then I love you is and some people use the I love you, and like
they change it
change
around.
it.
Yeah.
I've seen it different ways, but the bottom line is it doesn't matter. Just do it. And and there've been times where I've done this, and I do it every night. I do Ho'oponopono every night, and the next thing you know, the phone rings, and it's that person that I've been doing Ho'oponopono with. And it's and you told the story about the little dog. Remember that? The little dog. Share your story with the little dog.
Oh my goodness, that was and that was a big dog, actually.
Oh yeah.
I was walking my dog. This was back when I lived in Wollongong, and I was going through I was walking my dog, and I would often walk past this giant German Shepherd dog that would always, every day, day after day, would be aggressive and, behind the gate, of course. So I'd almost, block my ears when I'm ready to go. And I said, okay. This one morning, I thought, I just decided to use Ho'oponopono during my walk. And so I began to walk my little dog, and it come to getting up to the gate of this big German Shepherd. And I was just, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I walked past this dog, and this was the first time he just sat there and looked. And I was like, what on earth? I was like, wow. There was so much peace probably within me. There was no anxiousness, no expectations of that dog. Probably just completely let go for that moment. And he just sat there and looked at us. I will never forget it. Beautiful. It was so beautiful.
It's funny because we think Ho'oponopono is for the other person or whatever the situation is, but really it is for us. It's a tenderizer of our heart, because now you're saying, please forgive me, whatever. It doesn't matter whether I created it or I didn't create it. There's a problem. And so when you start doing, and that's a nice form of a meditation, I love you, please forgive. And sometimes meditation could be saying a scripture verse and using the breath in and out. I mean, there's just so many different ways that you can do this. Find what fits you the best. Now, Jason, is there anything else that you feel that will set us up for a success when it comes to meditation?
Could I just also go back to forgiveness? Because
I've heard this. We love forgiveness. Go ahead.
That many people have said that, oh, how can I forgive someone? I will never forgive someone for what they've done to me, or et cetera, et cetera. I think the really important thing to remember is that can be your choice. You can choose that. But what you're actually doing is you're literally leaving a thorn in your own side. You're the one that is carrying on with life, and you're the one that's going to live with that. And so the forgiveness is not just about the other person. The forgiveness is about letting go of being more at peace with who you are. And I'm telling you, if you can do that, if you can just work on that, this is meditation in action. That is truly meditation in action. That is giving yourself the opportunity to be so much more at peace than you've ever been.
Well, I'll get to add to that as well, because the body doesn't know. You know, we've gone through this in the I Am the Solution workshop. The body doesn't know the difference between do or don't. It doesn't know the difference between it happened now, it happened 50 years from now. It just knows now. It just thinks that it's happening right now. Every time you think about it, it's happening right now. The brain doesn't know the difference between fact or fiction. And here's the thing that the brain doesn't also know. The brain doesn't know who you're angry with. It assumes it's you. So when you think you're forgiving somebody else, really, you need to forgive just because you need to release yourself from that prison that we find ourselves in. Right, Jason? I mean, it's just, I see you shaking your head.
100%. Yeah. And the thing is, Lily, you don't even have to see that other person. You don't have to speak to that other person. It's your work. It's your internal work. And in doing so, again, I keep coming back to this one mind, but in doing so, you're setting the other person free as well. So you're doing yourself the greatest favor, but you're also just releasing that other person.
Yeah. And sometimes the other person doesn't even know. Maybe the
No.
other person doesn't even know that you're upset with them. You know, so it's really about you. You can only change you, and we can only create what we want. We can't create what other people want. So, and one of the biggest things that when I was raising my children, that I'm a great problem solver. I've always been a great problem solver, but sometimes our strengths are our weaknesses. And so because I was a great problem solver, I would solve people's problems, including my children's problems, before they even knew they had problems. I just would make sure that it was all cleared out, all taken care of. But when you do something like that, and I'm not saying this happened to my children, when you do something like that, you're basically telling your children, yeah, you can't handle it. Let me do it for you. But how are you going to give them the skills so that they can figure out their own problems? Sometimes you just got to sit back and let them fall, and then be there to help pick them up. And so those are the things that we don't know. We don't know that sometimes helping somebody too much can hurt them. You know, giving too much can hurt them. We need to figure it out, and everybody deserves that right to figure it out too. So whether we need to forgive ourselves or forgive somebody else, it doesn't matter. It's a part of the process. If we want to help or if we don't want to help, we just need to make sure that we're not sending the wrong signals, that you're not good enough to figure it out. I am.
Perfect. Well said. Yeah. Now, I haven't got children, but I could imagine, how painful that would be at times to let them go and to realize, oh my goodness, something's going to happen here. It's going to be, it's going to look a bit messy for some time. But you're giving them the greatest gift to let them travel their own journey, and that as you said, you're giving them, you're appreciating that they have the brains to figure things out themselves. That's and the heart.
You hold them to that higher power, that you hold them to that, put them in the lap of Jesus, but hold them to that higher power. That is so difficult to do.
Yeah.
I do as I say, not as I did, because, I had to go back and apologize to all my kids, because the way we perceive our mind is so powerful that even if we don't say, we don't think you can do this, our behavior is telling them we don't believe they can do this. And then all our fears are manifested, because first it's a thought, then it's a feeling, then it's an action. And if we think that something's going to harm them, and we try to circumvent that harm, it prolongs their learning lesson, or it brings it on. depending on what the situation is. But no matter what, our intentions are pure. But sometimes we just got to that's part of the letting go, Jason, that you talk about, part of the letting go. So before we go, because Jason, I want to make sure that we have like maybe a 2-3 minute meditation. I want to before we get to our time limitation, because we're not doing a extended class today. We're doing we're not doing the teacher's pet corner. So if you can, would you be okay? I mean, did we talk about all the things that we need to talk about to create?
Of course.
Okay.
I think so. I think one word that we can remember and just quickly throw it in is to have gratitude. Gratitude for what you already have now. And in having that gratitude, then only more will come through, that we're not living in a lack, that there is truly an abundance, and we've been supplied that abundance. And so if you can just remember that, I heard Aaron Sansoni in one of his training sessions the other day say, whatever you don't appreciate, de-appreciates. I love that one.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So Jason, I just absolutely love our conversation. Gratitude is another one that we talk a lot about. Forgiveness and gratitude. They're just like they're like cousins. They're just kissing cousins. So before we go, I would love if you could give us, like an experience, a meditation experience for those of us who have never done a meditation. Would you do like a 1 or 2 minute meditation for us?
Of course I will.
Thank you.
Okay. So just getting comfortable and seated, and with your eyes closed, if that feels comfortable for you, just for a couple of minutes. Feeling your feet on the floor and your hands resting in your lap. And really become aware of the weight of your body seated in the chair, your bum and your thighs on the chair, the weight of your hands resting in your lap. And just begin now to tune into your breathing. You can breathe in through your nose, and you can breathe out through your mouth or nose. That doesn't really matter. Just whatever's comfortable for you. And follow that breath. Follow that breath going in and going out.
Thank you, Jason. That was beautiful. And we're like at our time. So please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Jason Stephenson wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Thank you, Jason. JasonStephenson.net.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional